groundedness, the weight of the body beneath you. And let your breathing slow down. Your eyes might even close. And just begin to deepen your breath, feeling the lungs, and then letting it go. Beginning to trace the flow of air as it comes in and out of the body. Noticing the rhythm of the breath. Whether it's deep or shallow. And know that being connected with your breath like this is the basis of all yoga. So at any point, feel free to return to this breath work and know that it is just as productive as any asana or posture. But if you'd like to incorporate some postures into your yoga practice, maybe you begin to wake the body up a little bit, maybe just wiggling the fingers and the toes. You might stretch up overhead on a big inhale, let everything go long. Just see what begins to feel right for you. And then while you have this breath movement established, begin to link your breath and your movements. Maybe on an inhale, you stretch up overhead, and on the exhale, maybe you kind of stretch to one side, making a little half banana shape on the ground. And then inhale, pulling up through center, and then on the exhale, taking it to the other side. Taking a few breaths here. And then maybe begin to pull your knees into your chest. Give them a little squeeze. Maybe it's a rocking side to side, kind of massaging out the low back. And if it feels comfortable for you, maybe you let your left leg go long, relaxed on the mat, while keeping that right knee pulled into your chest. Take a big inhale, and on the exhale, send your heel towards the sky, toes pointing towards shin, little hamstring stretch here. You can interlace your hands behind your right thigh. And then inhale, pull the knee into the chest again, give it a little squeeze. And then on the exhale, press the heel towards the sky. Moving back and forth like this at your own pace with your breath. Inhale, pulling the knee into chest, and exhale, pressing the heel towards the sky. Beginning to lubricate the hip joints, the hamstring muscles. Staying connected with your breath. And that next exhale, when your heel is in the sky, pause for a moment, take some ankle circles. Couple times in one direction, drawing circles with the toes in the sky, and then switching directions. When you're ready, releasing the right leg long onto the mat, taking it to the other side, pulling the left knee into your chest, and then moving back and forth through your presses, heel going up towards the sky, and pulling your knee into your chest. Really good opportunity here to really connect with your breath, see if your movements are following your breath. And then again, when you feel ready, just pausing at the top, taking some ankle circles, a couple times in each direction. And then when you're ready, you can drop the left leg long, pull both knees up into the chest, kind of grab your knees for a little support, and then begin to take some circles with the knees, making some hip circles, letting the knees drop out and pulling them back in. Just seeing what feels good here, a little authentic movement. And then when you're ready, send both heels up towards the sky, interlacing hands behind the thigh. Little double hamstring action here. Before letting the legs go long, let everything stretch out. Inhale. And then on the exhale, take your time. You can roll onto your side and make your way up to a seated position. Take your time. You might even keep your eyes closed through this. And I invite you to take a moment. Maybe your eyes float shut. Maybe your gaze just kind of lowers. And just take a moment and set the intention for your practice. Maybe it's just to be present or to try something new. Maybe it's just kind of a gift to yourself to take care of your body. And then moving with that intention in your mind, on an inhale, stretch the arms overhead, reaching up towards the sky. And on the exhale, grab your left wrist with your right hand, drag it over to the right. Little side bend here. And then up towards center again, inhale. Exhale, taking it towards the other side. You can begin to kind of flow back and forth. You might even drop that bottom hand and then stretch over. Just taking some side bends here, seeing what feels good. There's no right, there's no wrong. And the next time both your arms are up in the sky, big inhale, begin to circle the wrists out. You can shake them out. And then let your hands come to your shoulders, bend the elbows, and just take some elbow circles here, drawing big circles in the sky. If it feels tight in any way, just respecting the body, the upper back, the shoulders, just seeing what feels good for you. And then slowly making your way onto your tabletop position whenever you're ready. Stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Take your time getting there, and then when you're ready, take a big inhale, drop the belly, look up towards the sky. And then on the exhale, press the floor away from you, round the spine, tuck the chin. Moving back and forth, inhale, dropping the belly, filling the lungs, and on the exhale, pressing the floor away. And allow this to become a little bit more authentic, maybe incorporating some hip circles, drawing big circles on your mat with your hips, even beginning to kind of press back and forth like you're going to go in a child's pose. Just seeing what feels right for you. You know the little spots that need the attention, that feel best, so listen to your body. It might feel good to separate the knees a little bit wider. And then when you feel ready, take your time. You can let your hips rest over your heels. Your forehead can find a block, a mat, or just the ground. And then stretching the shoulders forward, little child's pose here. Really stretching the arms forward, letting that chest open, the heart open, the forehead ground down. And then take a big breath. Feel the belly expand and press into the thighs. Every inhale filling you up with a little bit more openness and freshness, fresh morning air, and every exhale grounding you a little further. Begin to tent the fingers. Take a big inhale, and on the exhale, walk the fingers off the mat to the left, kind of pushing the hips back into the right. And then taking it back through center, walking the hands, big inhale, fill the lungs. And on the exhale, walking the hands in the opposite direction, sending the hips back into the left. And then you can center everything out, just let yourself ground down. Couple breaths here. And then knowing that this is another one of those base postures that you are more than welcome to come back to at any point in your practice, or even just stay right here. But if you'd like to join them, you can begin to press back up into your tabletop position and then make your way onto your knees. You might fold your mat to create a little bit of a cushion for your knees. But you don't have to, whatever feels good. Even if you have a blanket at home, you might want to do that. And then let your left leg stamp out to the side. It might be bent and a little bit in front of you. You might let it go completely long and straight, whatever feels good for you. And then let your left hand rest somewhere on your thigh for a little bit of support. On the inhale, send your right arm up towards the sky, fill the lungs. On the exhale, fold over that left hip. Really getting into the side body here. You might even begin to circle that right arm, noticing the difference in how that feels in the rib cage, the obliques, the shoulders. And then keeping your left leg where it is. When you're ready, take both of your hands down to the mat like you're going to do a tabletop position. Let your left arm reach up on an inhale. And then on the exhale, begin to twist it underneath your body. You might even tap down that left wrist, elbow, maybe even shoulder. You can let the hips kind of sink back a little bit so you get nice and comfy here. Little mini twist action for the spine. One more breath. And then coming out of it layer by layer, however you came into it, nice and slow. Just kind of peeling out of it and then eventually making your way back up onto your knees. Nice neutral spine here. And then taking it to the other side, seeing what feels right for that right leg. You might keep it bent or just right out to the side. And then on the inhale, filling your lungs, take your time, and then begin to fold over to that side of the studio. If you liked those arm circles, you might incorporate them here as well. Maybe it just feels good to hold it nice and static and just stretch. Whatever feels best for you here. Give yourself another breath. And then make your way back into that tabletop, keeping your leg out to the side, and then letting your right arm do its thing. On the inhale, pulling it up, and then crossing underneath the body, tapping whatever you tap down underneath your body. That feels good. Feel free to shift the hips back. Whatever feels good for you here. Just giving yourself a couple rounds of breath. And then slowly making your way back. You can just stamp that right foot back and we'll just meet in tabletop. Taking any arches or curls that you need to. Even anything out. And then find a nice spot in your tabletop with a neutral spine. Not too arched, not too curled. As if I could balance a glass of water on your low back and it wouldn't fall off. From this position, curl your toes underneath. Using your abs, lift your knees off the mat just by an inch or two. Little bear pose here, noticing that activation of the core, the neutral spine, and then tap the knees back down. Big inhale, let it go. This time, find your bear pose again, picking your knees up off, nice neutral spine, strong core, and then let the hips go up and back for a downward facing dog. You might pedal out the feet a little bit, bending one knee at a time. You can shake your head yes, shake it no. Whatever feels good here, your first down dog, some intuitive movement. And then when you feel ready, shift forward into a plank. Just noticing the alignment. Give yourself the opportunity to shift back and forth from down dog to plank, noticing that shoulder stacking alignment, the core activation. And then next time you're in that plank, allow the knees to tap down. From the knees to the crown of the head is one line. Let the shoelace sides of the feet tap down onto the mat. Keeping your elbows into your sides, slowly lower down all the way to the ground. Keeping your shoulders in line with the fingertips. Press into the shoelace sides of the feet, kneecaps lift, glutes squeeze, and then begin to take a big inhale and lift the chest, the head. The gaze is about 6 to 12 inches in front of you. Big inhale. And then on the exhale, press through the hands, find your tabletop position, curl your toes, hips up and back, downward dog. Take a big inhale. On the exhale, bend your knees, walk or float forward to the top of your mat. Little forward fold here. Just let it something go. Drop the jaw. Notice any tension in the shoulders. And on the inhale, take a big swoop all the way to standing. And then the exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, swoop the arms. Exhale, hands to heart center, forward fold. Let it all go. Inhale, take a halfway lift, hands to your shins, straight back. Exhale, your hands can plant, your feet can step back. Find that plank pose. You might drop the knees to the mat, you might not as you lower down to the mat. You can take that baby cobra we did before, or you might push up into an up dog. Wherever you are, nice big inhale, and then exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, bend your knees, walk or float forward, top of the mat. Nice forward fold, and inhale, sweep everything up. On the exhale, let your left hand go forward, right hand goes back. Try to keep your hips facing the front of the studio. Little opening twist here. And then let your right hand swoop underneath the left, little eagle bind, bending at the elbows. You might begin to press the palms together and kind of pull them down. Take a big inhale. And on the exhale, just take a nice forward fold with this bind. See how that extra weight of the bind can open up the backs of the shoulders. Inhale, let the bind go, nice straight flat back. Exhale, hands plant, feet step or float back. Take a little vinyasa, rinse it all off. Exhale, lowers you down. Inhale, heart bursts open for baby cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. On your next exhale, bend your knees, walk or float forward. Little forward fold here, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, sweep all the way up. And then exhale, let the right hand go in front of you, left hand twist back, keeping both of the hips pointing forward. Requires a lot of core work for that. And then when you feel ready, letting your left hand come underneath your elbow, bending at the elbows, maybe you even interlace the fingers or palms touch. Just giving yourself a little love in here. You could even just grab your opposite shoulders if that's better. And then when you're ready, take a nice forward fold with the bind. Notice how that feels. If it feels lovely, take your time. But if you're ready, you might let the bind go. Nice inhale, flat back. And then exhale, let the hands plant, feet step back. Little vinyasa. You can skip the vinyasas at any point if you'd like to avoid the push-up and just meet in down dog. It's all optional. And then let yourself take a couple resetting breaths here. Next inhale, let your right leg go long up towards the sky. Exhale, curl the right knee into the chest. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, curl the knee to the chest, step right foot towards right thumb. You can let the left knee drop down here. Take a nice inhale, little stretch up here. And on the exhale, twist your left elbow over your right knee. You might keep your palms together. Just see what feels good here. A little twist from the mid-back. And then stretch up again, inhale. And the exhale, straighten your front knee, fold over. Little hamstring stretch here. And you can begin to alternate with maybe a lizard, bending that front knee, and then pushing back for a hamstring. You might walk the right foot out a little bit, just so it feels good for the hips here. And then when you feel ready, taking your feet back to hip distance, curling the left toe under, lifting up into that high lunge once again. You can frame that right foot with your hands and then step your right foot back, three-legged dog. You can bend the right knee here if you like, open up the hip. You might even flip your dog if that's in your practice. And then making your way back to a downward facing dog whenever you feel ready. You might take a vinyasa, So rinse it all off. You might just meet back in down dog whenever you're ready. And then inhale, left leg reaches towards the sky. Exhale, pull it towards your chest. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, stamp that left foot down. Right knee can drop. Take a nice inhale, fill the lungs, reaching up towards the sky. And on the exhale, you can kind of cross the body, karate chop. The right elbow might hook that left knee. Just seeing how that feels for the hips. And then inhale, stretching everything back up. And exhale, straightening that left knee, taking your time, nice forward fold here. Begin to play around with any kind of authentic movement, maybe a little bit of lizard action, bending the left knee and then straightening it, seeing what feels good. And then when you're ready, finding that high lunge position, curling the right toes underneath, framing that left foot, and then stepping it back for a three-legged dog. Opportunity here to open that hip, flip the dog if you like, and then make your way back. Three-legged dog. You might shift forward, lower down on an exhale, and take a nice up dog. And then exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Let it all go. You might tap the knees down, find a little bit of a child's pose here, if that feels better. Whenever you gotta do, maybe it's a sip of water, just a couple deep breaths. And then when you're ready, take a nice inhale, let the right leg reach up towards the sky. Exhale, curl the knee towards the chest, step right foot down. And then you can come into a high lunge position here. Feet hip distance apart, knee stacked over the ankle, really grounding down through the ball of the back foot. Really feeling the strength here. And then let your right hand come to the outside of your right knee. Press into it to activate the glute. And then let the left arm reach forward. Thunderbolt position here, just letting the fire build, little heat building. Take another big breath. And then let the left hand drop down. You can take your right hand to the hip or let it reach open towards the sky, little runner's lunge twist here. Noticing your breathing. And then when you're ready, dropping that left heel down and in, rising up to your warrior two position. Take a moment, reset the feet from the heel of the front foot to the arch of the back foot is one straight line. The knee is stacked over the ankle. The outer edge of that left foot is grounding into the mat. You're stretching the mat apart energetically. You're not too arched, not too curled. Nice strong neutral spine, strong core. Chest is lifted. You can shrug the shoulders up and then let it go. You might circle the wrists. And then inhale, flip that front palm, reverse your warrior, letting the right arm reach up towards the sky. Noticing how that feels for the side body. And then on the exhale, begin to shift forward. Let your right forearm come to the inside of your right thigh. Left arm reaching up towards the sky, side angle. And then beginning to flow back and forth. Inhale, reverse the warrior, reaching up towards the sky. And on the exhale, shifting forward, little side angle. Begin to move at your own pace here, kind of flowing, seeing what feels good for you, noticing the rhythm of your breath. And then next time you're in that side angle, stay where you are, just straighten that right leg. Little micro bend in the right knee to protect it. Let your right hand come to your shin. Little triangle action here. You might even float that right arm. Use your core to keep you engaged. Big breath here. And then when you feel ready, returning to your warrior two position. Resetting. And then you can circle, sweep the hands, frame the right foot, step the right foot back, three-legged dog. Inhale. On the exhale, shift forward, lower down to the earth. Inhale, heart bursts open, either baby cobra or up dog. And the exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. And when you're ready, we'll take it to the other side. Left leg lifts up on an inhale. Exhale, curl the knee into the chest, stamp it down. Take your time to set up a nice runner's lunge here. Activation in the feet, the abs, the thighs. And then let that left hand come to the outside of the left knee, press into it, and let the right arm shoot forward. Thunderbolt position here. Noticing the shakiness, the heat. And then when you're ready, let that right arm drop down to the ground. Left arm can do its thing, either on your hip or reaching up towards the sky. See if you can play around with kind of tenting those fingers on the mat. If you have a block or something, try to use your abs to keep you up. One more breath. And on the exhale, drop that right heel down, taking your way up into your warrior two. Again, setting and adjusting the feet a little bit. Really grounding down to the outer edge of the back foot. Shrug the shoulders, let it go. Take up a lot of space here. Really spread the mat apart. And then on the inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Noticing how that feels for the side body. And then taking your way when you're ready into a side angle, letting your left forearm come somewhere inside the left thigh. Stretching up towards the sky, really let your fingers take up a lot of space in the sky. And then flowing back and forth. The spots that feel best, honor those, take your time. There's no rush at all, it's your practice. And instead of using the movements to control the breath, see if you can let the breath control the movements. That might mean you move slower, faster, whatever your breath is kind of cueing. Let your breath be really the ultimate yoga teacher. And then next time you're in that side angle, if you'd like to find that triangle, you might extend that left leg, letting the right arm reach towards the sky. You might even float that bottom left hand. Big inhale. And then take your way back to your warrior two. Let it all go. Frame the left foot. You can stamp it back. Take a little vinyasa, lowers you down. Inhale, heart bursts open, nice heart opener. And on the exhale, you can curl the toes, downward facing dog. Take a nice inhale. On the exhale, bend your knees. Walk or float to the top of your mat. Nice forward fold here. Let your feet walk out wider, like your heels may be the edges of your yoga mat. And then begin to sink down, bend at the knees, find a little yogi squat. You can use the elbows to press the knees away from each other. Really use the glutes to keep you lifted up. Take a moment here. And then driving through the heels, begin to stand all the way up and squeeze at the top. And then lower back down. We'll do about 10 of these, just moving at your own pace. If it feels better to just hold it nice and static at the bottom, do that, absolutely. If you like these squats, feel free to do any kind of adjustment. You might even turn to the side and take up a little bit more space, kind of like a sumo squat. You might more like your feet closer together. You know your body, see what feels right for you. Just make sure you're squeezing at the top. And if you have a lot of energy when you get to the top, you might even add a little bit of a hop and then lower back down. Wherever you are, give yourself 3 more rounds and then land in that yogi squat. Give yourself a few rounds of breath. And then from your yogi squat, let your hands plant. Step your right foot back. You're in kind of a lizard shape here. The right knee can tap down. And then once again, just like we did in the beginning, let yourself take those kind of intuitive back and forth, straightening the left leg, left knee bending. And then from where your left foot is, begin to curl the right toes underneath. Raise into your high lunge. Like you have weights in your hand, pull them into your chest. Hinge forward. And then begin to send them back behind you. Little tricep kickback. Squeeze the triceps and then pull them back into your chest. Again, squeeze, kick them back, pull them into your chest. Give yourself a couple of rounds here, even if you don't have weights. If you're squeezing, you will feel it. The next time those weights are in your chest, begin to shift your weight into your left leg. Let those little weights skin down your left leg. Come back up, plant the right foot, take a little tricep kickback. It's a tricep kickback into a single leg deadlift. You go as far down until you feel it in that hamstring, then you come up, squeeze, lower the leg, little tricep kickback. Move at your own pace. This requires balance, it requires core, it requires arm strength. Move nice and slow. That left leg should be on fire. Give yourself one more round of whatever you're doing, whatever flow you found yourself in. And then when you're ready, let everything go, high lunge. You can frame that left foot, stamp your right foot forward, find yourself in that yogi squat once again. Give yourself a breath or two here. Really drive the knees away from each other. And then hands can plant. This time your left foot steps back. It's your left knee that drops as you begin to take those intuitive movements through that right leg. Straightening and bending. Maybe just holding one spot feels really nice. Then when you're ready, making your way into that high lunge with the right leg in front, pull those weights down into your chest, hinge forward, take some tricep kickbacks here. Really beginning to establish the weight in that right leg. When you're ready, next time those fists are in at your shoulders, begin to pour the weight into the right leg. Hinge forward, skin down the edge of your leg until you feel it in the hamstring. Rise back up, driving through the heel, squeeze. Plant the foot down, tricep kickback. Moving nice and slow, see what feels best for you. Requires a lot of concentration, moving nice and slow. Nice and focused. See if you can use this as like a moving meditation where you just stay present. These dynamic movements we're doing, moving through the different planes. Seeing if you can kind of be there with the muscles as they turn on and off. And then when you're ready, one last round of whatever you're doing, whatever beautiful flow you found yourself in. And then when you're ready, you can frame that right foot. Let the left foot stamp forward, yogi squat one last time. See how it feels now that both legs have kind of been worked out like that. And then drive through the heels, pick it back up. And give yourself a couple rounds here. Maybe just 5 squats, nice and slow. If you liked those jumps, you might be doing those. And then when you're ready, next time you're in your yogi squat, your hands can plant, your feet can step back. Find yourself in a plank, take a nice inhale, Exhale lowers you down to the mat. Inhale, heart bursts open. Up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. See how it feels different here. Let your knees bend one at a time. See how your hamstrings feel. Couple of big resetting breaths here. Take a nice inhale on the exhale. Bend your knees, walk or float forward to the top of your mat. Let your toes touch, your knees stacked over your ankles. Let your hips sink back, arms come up, little chair pose here. You can walk your feet out a little bit to make room. Let your left forearm come to the inside of that left thigh. Take a nice twist here. Little Utkatasana chair twist. You might even pull your hand into your hip and kind of just twist from the mid-back. Big breath. And then begin to plant, center, stabilize, plant both of your hands to your left thigh. Begin to send your right leg back behind you, flexing the right foot. Little warrior 3 variation here. You might even extend your arms long out in front of you. Feeling the shaky. Another breath. And then when you're ready, letting that right foot stamp down behind you, little high lunge. Set up your feet, hip distance apart, really ground in to the feet. Take your hands to your hips or in front of your heart, and then begin to bend that back knee, tapping it down, and then drive through the heel, lift back up. Moving like this through these little lunges. See if you can incorporate your breath into it once again. Maybe it's an inhale, you lower down, and an exhale, you drive through the heel. You might like these static holds. You might begin to even, as you pick up through that left heel, you might even begin to drive the right knee into your chest, and then kind of reverse lunge it. See what feels good for you. Give yourself 3 more rounds of whatever you're doing, as long as it feels productive for your body. And then next time you land in that high lunge, let your right heel drop down, open up towards the mirror side of the room, toes out, heels in, and sink down into your goddess pose, bending at the knees. Take a moment, notice your pelvis, notice your core, not too arched, not too curled. Your chest is proud. You might even float your eyes shut a little bit and just kind of feel the sensations in the body. This hip opener. We've warmed up the legs. Sometimes it's just holding these postures. You could even see what it's like to kind of roll onto the toes of one leg and see how that feels. Two more rounds of breath here in this powerful pose. And then let it go. Facing the back of the studio, let your right toes point towards the back of your mat. Begin to set up for your Ardha Chandrasana or half moon pose on your right leg, sending your right arm to the ground 6 to 9 inches in front of your foot, while your left limbs reach up towards the sky. If you have a block, you might use that under your right arm. Try not to pour too much weight into that right hand once again. See if you can kind of play around with floating it. Squeezing the glutes. Big breath here. And then when you're ready, nice and slow and controlled, let that left leg drop down. You can find your warrior 2 facing the front of the studio. Circling the hands down, frame the left foot. Step the left foot back for a little 3-legged dog. And then take a nice inhale. Exhale shifts you forward, lowers you down. Inhale, heart bursts open. And exhale, curl the toes, down dog. Take a moment here. Fill your lungs. Exhale, let something go. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale, bend the knees, walk or float to the top of the mat. Chair pose once again, arms sweep up, getting nice and low. Giving yourself enough room in between your toes for your right arm to come inside of the right thigh as you take that twist up with the left arm. Noticing the hips here, the knees if they stay in line. Nice deep breath here. And then begin to center, stabilize that right foot. Place your hands to the top of the right thigh as you begin to lift that left leg back behind you. Some balancing action here, some shaking, and those intricate little muscles in the feet. Flex that left foot, squeeze the glute, and then slowly lower the left leg down when you feel ready. Taking your dips on your own time, whatever version you liked. Maybe you didn't try those power lunges that time, maybe this time around you give them a shot. These subtle differences on each side, one leg might be stronger than the other, one hip could be tighter than the other, so respect and honor that. Wherever you are, give yourself maybe 3 more rounds. And then next time you're in that high lunge, you can drop that left heel down, this time opening up to the bar side of the studio. And then take your hands to your hips, just a nice forward fold here. Let it all go, reaching down towards the mat. Let the head hang heavy. Might feel good to just hold this nice and still. You might walk your hands to the left side and then the right side. You could even bend into one knee, see how that feels. Take it to the other side. One more nice long round of breath here. And then take your hands to your hips, use your core, drive through the heels, lift yourself up nice and slow. And then begin to find that half moon pose facing the back of the studio, letting the left toes reach towards the back of the mat. As the left arm reaches maybe 6 to 9 inches in front of that left toe, and the right limbs go up towards the sky. Spread those right fingers in the sky, flex the right toes, squeeze the glutes. One more breath. Then nice and slow and controlled, let that right foot tap down. Find your warrior 2 facing the front of the studio. And you can circle the hands, frame the foot, and then step it back, 3-leg dog. Rinse it all off with a vinyasa. Or just skip the push-ups and meet in down dog whenever you're ready. Couple resetting breaths here. And when you're ready, next inhale, send your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, curl the knee to the chest, stamp it down towards the right thumb, and come into your high lunge. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale, hands towards heart center. Twist over that right knee. Left elbow might hook over the right knee. Same thing like we did in the beginning of class, but now a little bit more warmed up and with the knee up. Now stay with me here. You'll grab your right wrist with your left hand. Begin to stand up, drop the left heel down, straighten that right leg. Really fill the lungs. And then on the exhale, let that right hand free. Stretch it forward to the front of the studio, even past the toes. And then tip it down, let it grab your right shin. Left arm goes up. Little star shape here. Or I'm sorry, triangle. Begin to drive through that right foot. Stand up towards the bar side of the studio. Let everything go long, star shape. Take up a lot of room here. The chest is open. You might even drop the head back, find a little bit of a throat opener here. Just take up plenty of space. And then when you're ready, you can frame that right foot. Take your time. Step that